Hello, hello, everybody. We are back for another edition of Quarantine Questions. Today, we've got Adam Wainwright. And Adam, I'm really excited to have you here and really appreciate your time. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Scotty. I always love my time with you and looking forward to what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, you and I have already had a little bit of time to talk about this, but when I think of you, I think of the word intentional. And that's kind of a theme that I'd love to play off of today, because I've had a lot of great experiences with you as a teammate in the mission field and just doing stuff that we love to do together. And I'd love for you to speak into three areas: one, as a leader in the clubhouse; two, as a disciple maker of Jesus; and three, as a servant to the poor. And I think those are three things that'll really resonate with the folks here. But first of all, to introduce you to some who may not know or be big baseball fans, you have played for the Cardinals for how many years now?
This is my 15th full season.
15th? Wow.
Yep.
And how many time All-Star?
3 times.
3-time All-Star. I'm sorry, I know you don't like to talk about yourself, but I'm going to get this out.
A couple of jobs in there too, but we'll take the 3.
2-time World Series champion too, right?
2 times, yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's an honor to have you here.
A couple other times really close, but we won twice.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. You're an all-star on the Major League Baseball diamond, but you're an all-star for Water Mission too. So let's start with that leader in the clubhouse theme. I know you had the benefit of coming up under some really veteran leadership that really poured into you and that you learned from, and now you're doing that same thing, fulfilling that role for younger guys. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I was coming up, the baseball culture, very similar to what you did, Scott. Baseball culture was much different. I'm 38 right now, and I am by far the oldest guy in the clubhouse. But when I was a rookie, it seemed like there was 12 of those guys in the clubhouse. It was Cal Eldred was 40-plus years old. Julian Tavares was getting up there. Jason Isringhausen was getting up there. I had Woody Williams, who was close to 40 if he wasn't 40. We had Chris Carpenter, Matt Morris, Jeff Suppan, Mark Mulder, all older veteran players, in their 30s at least, and a very small group of younger players, but just vast amount of older, experienced, wise in the game and in life players. And, I got to learn from some of the best, Albert Pujols and Mike Matheny. They were on the team when I first came up. And, Mike Matheny and Cal Eldred are manager and pitching coach for the Royals. Now, I think that's when you're getting old, is when like half your teammates are all coaches or like scouts or GMs or whatever. And that's where I'm at. I know that's where you are too. But I was, as you said, very blessed to learn pitching from some of the greats, probably a Hall of Fame pitching coach in Dave Duncan, and some future, at least not, if they're not Hall of Famers, they're Cardinal Hall of Famers, and Chris Carpenter and Matt Morris and Woody Williams. Just very, very blessed to be able to be instructed and taught how to be a professional, because that's a big part of the game, is learning how to be a pro, learning how to prepare, learning how to show up every day ready to rock, and knowing that, you only get, as a starter, you only get 32, 33 starts a year. And so on those days, yeah, those are the most important days, but what are the days in between that help get you to those days that are going to allow you to have the most success? And not just about performance, it's about, how you carry yourself within the clubhouse, how you go about your work in between, showing up on time, what time to go to the ballpark, all those things. I was really blessed to have some great mentors. And so I'm trying to pass those things down to the younger players.
And I know that you were one of those guys that really looked for direction, looked for coaching from that older crowd, and you respected that. Sometimes it's a little bit different culture with the younger generation now. Do you find that those guys are eager to learn from you, and maybe what are some ways that you've been creative with teaching them certain things?
Yeah. And, I think because I was one of the only younger guys, it was sort of natural for me to try to sponge off as many players as I could. Jason Marquis and I rode to the field together every day at home. We lived in the same area, and he bought all my dinners for a whole year. And Braden Looper and I went to the game together every day on the road. And he told me, show me how to be on time and do all those kinds of things. And I think being sort of like one of the only older guys, Yadier and I are kind of the only older guys on the team, Yadier Molina. We've been there together since the start of 2006, but I came up in 2005 for a little bit. He's been up since 2004. We were in AAA together. We've been together for a long time. We have a lot of stuff to share. All those things, those words of wisdom that we learned from our veteran mentors. I would say it's got to a point now where the younger players are all very much approaching us. They feel, like we're kind of like the grandpas now, that we're approachable. There was a time though that I'll say, kind of in those tweener years where there was maybe some older players than I was, and a few younger guys, but they didn't really know, all right, is it okay to go to Adam? Do I need to go to Carp? Like, what do I do? But now, being the older guy, I felt like in spring training this year, it might have been my most favorite spring training I've ever had, because there was, every time I sat down for lunch, I had 2 or 3 guys sponging off me the whole time, asking me questions. How do you prepare? What time do you show up? This and that. It was every single day. And I love that. I love pouring back into those younger players. And if I can help them avoid some of the struggles I had in the minor leagues because I just didn't know how to be a pro yet, if I can get them jump started, they're going to help our big league club sooner. So I feel like that's my role in the clubhouse.
Yeah, and you certainly, it's obvious that you're passionate about that and that you take that seriously. Another role that you take very seriously that I mentioned was being a disciple maker. And you were one of those guys, even before you and I got a chance to play together on the same team, always heard great things about your dedication and devotion to living your life for Jesus. And you are a part of some really exciting things now that you're using your platform in amazing ways. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your Twitter and Bible engagement plan?
Yeah. And I'll start with, words are great, and being able to write something down on paper or give a good message, that's all fine and dandy. But as well as I that if you have a teammate in the clubhouse that's not backing up what they say they believe with their actions and the way they're living their life, then their words don't mean a hill of beans. And so I'm trying to perform at a level that people from both sides respect. When I step on the mound, the guys behind me, they know I've prepared. They know I've taken everything seriously. They know I'm doing everything with the utmost respect I can. But also as the other team's watching me, they're going, all right, this guy is prepared. He's locked in. This is going to be tough. He's competing. He's battling. And we respect that guy. If I was talking nonsense in the paper about the other team all the time and calling out players left and right on my own team and this and that, the words that I said within the clubhouse or wrote down on paper, they wouldn't matter. They wouldn't have an audience. Nobody would listen. Everybody would go, oh, there's that hypocrite again. So I try to give myself the best chance to succeed in what I'm writing and talking about with the way I'm living my life. That being said, what you mentioned, I'm doing something. So this is how it started. In two off seasons ago, I was at home in Georgia and I was in the garage and I was building a bow hanger or a bow target hanger to be able to wheel my big block around and move it around to different places at different yardages and stuff. And something just came over me. I was like, man, I feel like I got to call our pastor and just ask him if I need to do this Bible reading with the church. And you know what I'm talking about, but for the last, this is my 5th year now doing it in a row. Our mentor spiritually is a guy named Don Christensen. And Don is our financial planner, and Don does a walk through the Bible in 1 year reading plan every year. He's done it for like 25 years in a row. Well, a few years back, 5 years ago, I said, hey, Don, I want to do this with you, because every time he came to visit me, no matter what time I got up in the morning, he was already up, already had his coffee. His journal was out, open on the countertop with his Bible open. And he already wrote pages of notes. And I'm going, gosh, man, this is a couple of guys that I respect more than anybody spiritually. And every time I get up, they've already been up. Every time I see what they're doing, they've already been in the Word. And there's something to that. So I said, all right, I want to do your reading program with you. He goes, all right, it's a big commitment. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. And I said, I want to do it. So the first year I probably did about maybe 40 or 50% of the daily reading requirements. It's an Old Testament, a New Testament, and a Psalm or a proverb every day. And then the next year was a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until finally last year, I decided to lead a couple of men's groups through it, just with what Don and you and I had shared, talked about on all those trips and days reading together through the Word. I felt like I needed to pass that on. I couldn't hold it to myself anymore. And so I led a group of Cardinals, and I led a group of men from home, guys my age from our hometown in Georgia. And it was great. And we had such good feedback every day and such good fellowship. And so it was so powerful to me that I'm sitting in there in my garage and I'm building that thing and I'm going, man, there's something to this. There's something to this plan. I just feel like I'm supposed to do this on a greater level, but I don't really know if I want that accountability, like I knew that it was going to be more than maybe I was bargaining for, but I kept having this urge. So I called the pastor and he said, Adam, it's December 30th. There's no time to do that. And so we put it off until this year, but this year we got started with it and got a good team there at the church at home that helped me kind of set up a program to be able to reach people. And they announced it at church, and I didn't know if anybody was going to sign up for this at the church. I ordered 200 journals. There's roughly around 2,000 members of the church at home that come on any given day or whatever. I didn't know if 50 people or 5 people even were going to sign up, but I ordered 200 journals, and they were gone at the end of the first session. He announced it in church and they were gone. So I'm like, oh man, I got to order more journals, and then I looked at the email group that we set up, and there was like 3,000 people in there. And I was like, I don't think I can order 3,000 journals. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So then I had to email the tabs out so they could put it on the top of pages on a notebook or whatever if they wanted to, or they can just read my recap. But so I read through that Bible plan. Old Testament, I write my recap. New Testament, I write my recap. And a Psalm or a proverb, I write my recap. And then I end it with a prayer and I send it out. Day 1 through 365, right? Well, about 2 hours after I got the response from the church that I go, I got this huge following on Twitter. I feel like I'm supposed to do something bigger with it, like, golly, but I don't really want to because it's going to be way more than I'm bargaining for. And I just kept getting that nudge. So I put it out on Twitter, and I started a new Twitter page our Twitter name called Walking with Waino, Walking W Waino at Twitter. And, we got almost 17,000 people in that right now.
Wow.
And it's just grown. It's just grown more than I could ever imagine. And I'll tell you the best part of it though, Scott, is there's about 20 people on there every day that are writing a response to what they read and how it impacted them. And then going over my recap and kind of cross-referencing that. And we're having this great accountability, growing, discipling group going on. But underneath those, there's 50, 60 likes or retweets or whatever. So not everyone's commenting, but thousands and thousands of people are getting exposed to the Word of God every single day. And I know that's a long story, and I probably left some things out because I just don't know if I can cover everything. But I tell you, it's been some of the most impactful, powerful experiences of my life is knowing that there's 20-something thousand people reading through the Word of God with me right now. And I told my wife Jenny a few months back when we first got started, after a couple weeks of this and just seeing people's response, I said, Jenny, I think this might be one of the most important things I've ever done.
Wow.
And I need you to help me get through this.
Wow. Well, and you have no idea, who you might be planting a seed, who you might be watering, who you might ultimately see a harvest from. I mean, that's what the
That's right.
Bible tells us. And I commend you for what you're doing. It was a tremendous step of faith. It's a tremendous time commitment. I think I had heard you say somewhere that you spend about an hour a day doing this. And like I told you earlier, I said, you spend way more than an hour on this, which you admitted that you do. But man, I mean, like you say, no greater thing that we can do, no more important than giving somebody the keys to eternity. So, way to go.
Yeah, that's true. I'll tell you, just it's been the most fun I've ever had studying the Word too, because I know that like there's this obligation for me to post something, right, so that people can be fed. But I'm finding for myself spiritually a tremendous growth in actually doing that work, and actually having to dive deeper. Like today's reading for me, I'm one day ahead of the group because I really want to have an open discussion with it, and I want to be sort of caught up with everyone. I don't want to be 2 weeks ahead and then people ask me a question and be like, what did I write on that day? Like I'm one day ahead so we can have good conversation. But it's got to go out at 3 a.m. every morning. So, I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. It's automated when it goes out, but I get it on there. But like today's reading for tomorrow people will read it tomorrow, is Moses' blessing on the 12 tribes of Israel right before he dies. And looking at what his words are to each one of those, I'm going, well, there's a backstory to those. And so I had fun this morning just kind of studying where those tribes ended up and did those blessings come true? And ultimately Moses's blessing ended up being completely prophetic. I mean, all of those things came true. And it was interesting. Like I noticed that Simeon was the only one that didn't receive a blessing. And so I wanted to know why. And so I looked that up, and that was really fascinating to me. Looking back into Genesis, what had happened? Why did Simeon not receive a blessing? Oh yeah, let's go back through the Word. So there's just such deep lessons, Bible stories through there that it's really helped me grow in my faith also.
That's awesome. Well, I want to switch gears here with the final topic. You being intentional as a servant to the poor. I know that's something that is very important to you and Jenny. Y'all are tremendous partners of Water Mission. You've started this group called Big League Impact back in 2013. I was just looking on the website, and basically the mission of Big League Impact is to save lives, restore dignity, and instill hope. You support 62 different charities through that group. 650,000 people impacted and $4.5 million raised through activities like fantasy football and karaoke events and fun things that you're taking and then turning for good. And you're allowing people to have some experiences that are a lot of fun. They get to engage with some of their favorite sports heroes, and everybody has fun. And then the whole thing is for a good cause. Every year, Big League Impact has been supporting a water mission project and bringing safe water to an entire community. You've led trips to Haiti and Honduras and giving guys the experience of going down and letting them see what's possible by their generosity and their philanthropy and literally changing lives. Talk a little bit more about that and what experiences like that have meant to you in going to places like Haiti and Honduras. And I'm going to flash some pictures of some of those trips.
Yeah, and before we found Water Mission, we had supported some water initiatives before, and they do great things. There's people in this world that water insecurity is Scott, is it the biggest cause of death? I mean, in the entire world is the lack of clean water? I think it is, right?
Yeah. Over 800,000 people a year die from it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a staggering number. And, if we treated that as seriously as we were treating this coronavirus thing, we'd have this pandemic, this epidemic of clean water solved in a couple of years, wouldn't we? But I think it's just something we take for granted. The idea that we can go to the bathroom and get clean running water or drink it out of our toilets way cleaner than most people in the world are drinking. That's crazy when you really think about that, and I'll tell you, as you know, Scott, it's one thing to support a mission from afar and send money and not feel that. But when you go and you see and you experience what that's actually like in person, and you see what they're drinking, and you get to hold those little babies, and you get to see, like, I always say this, one of the most impactful trips for me ever, and this was already after I was already on board, you know, that there was a little town called Balan right outside of Haiti, right outside of Cap-Haïtien. And we drove to this little town, and we wanted to see like a future site for where we were going to put, you know, a water mission living water unit. And we parked on the side of the road, and across the road, filtering off the side of this hill, was just this little kind of slightly moving stream going across the main road that went through this town. Were you there, Scott? I think you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the water was brown. It looked like, I mean, I don't know if you can see my couch, but it was this color, you know, and it looked like chocolate milk. And I said, well, hey, where are these people getting their water from? And they said, you're looking at it. And we just kind of sat there for a few minutes, and we watched what was happening. And inevitably, because it's the only road going through the town, you got motorcycles going through, you got dogs walking through it, you got people walking through, you got them stopping and cleaning off their sandals in the water puddle, because that's the only water there is, right? You know, so they're using it for everything. And then we saw a lady with a big jug come and fill it up and put it on top of her head and walk home. And I said, what is she going to use that water for? And they said, everything. Cleaning, cooking, drinking. That's it. This is what they have for water. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. Like, we just don't even, unless you've seen that in person, even the story I'm telling, it doesn't really hit home. But when you see it in person, and you see that the struggle, that's what they drink. That's normal for them. And you see that, and you realize that with the implementation of a clean water system, what is it, like 80% of the waterborne illness is gone within the first year or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a staggering difference. And it's something that was when I knew that the basic essential needs, the food, water, shelter, medicine programs, those were the ones that were really going to stick with me the most, you know. Knowing that there's people in the world that go to sleep every night not knowing where their next meal is going to come from, that bothers me. Knowing there's people in the world right now that have stomach aches because they're having to drink water with floaties in it, and mud and gross and gunk and nasty stuff, that bothers me. And so Big League Impact, but also my wife and I, you know, just on the side, we that's what we love finding. And we're so glad that we've been able to partner with an incredible organization like Water Mission, because it's not just about the clean water. It's about bringing the gospel. It's about providing jobs in those local communities. It is about so much more than just water, although the water is the basic need that they on the outside need the most. A lot of times it's the Holy Spirit that they need to receive, you know, that's actually the biggest thing that they need.
Yeah. Amen. Well, I know you've seen that firsthand, and you're also creating those experiences for other guys, other players to go and see it too. And I just think of the compounding impact and the potential that has is just tremendous. I would be remiss without finishing this with some kind of funny picture. So I'm going to flash one up of me and you here in Honduras. You remember this one?
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be on the toilet or this. Yeah, that's my lizard eater shirt too.
That's right. Yeah, I think we ate lunch in this community, and at the end they gave us these T-shirts, and we were like, "What does this say?" And it says, "I'm a lizard eater," and we were like, "Oh, I guess that was what was for lunch."
Yeah, that Coyolas Aldea, if I remember right, is where that was in Honduras, and they gave us those shirts. They're about 17 sizes too small, which is pretty saying a lot because my muscles aren't that big. Although it is sort of flattering. Maybe I should wear my shirts tighter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I remember they're saying that was the culture for that town, is that they were known as eating those big old giant lizards or what.
Yeah. Fun time. So you can have fun in the mission field too. It's not all about just.
Oh man. And I'm so thankful that you were there that first mission trip that I went on. and just kept it light and fun. I remember I got home and I said, Jenny, I don't ever want to go on a mission trip again without Scott Linebrink. That was the most fun.
Well, I'm ready to go in the field with you again.
Yep, me too. I want to go see our work in Africa. I can't wait to go see that.
Yeah. Amen. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time again, Adam. You and Jenny are both one of our Water Mission All-Stars, and really appreciate it. Really appreciate you taking the time, and go play golf with your girls. I hear you got a big tee time. I got to let you go.
Wait, first of all, does this mean I'm a 4-time All-Star now?
It is. You're a perpetual All-Star with Water Mission, for sure.
Good. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go play some golf. I got a good setup right now. We sign up online for our tee time. So you don't have to go and check in inside anywhere. You park. There's no range balls or anything. You go straight to the first tee. You walk. No carts. There's walking, and the pins are raised up. The cups are raised up out of the ground. So when you putt, it just hits the side of the cup. You pick your ball up, and you don't have to touch anything or remove the flag. Right. So I mean, really, you don't come in contact. You never come on the same hole as anybody else, and you're not touching anything. You're seeing just but it's a hilly course, man. I'm glad to get my daughters and myself out there and get some exercise in.
There you go. Well, y'all have fun, and really appreciate your time, Adam.
Thanks, brother. Next time, we're doing this.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
All right, dude. All right.
See ya.
See ya.